Hello, Dr. Kumar. If you can please introduce yourself, I would really appreciate it.
I'm Ayush Kumar. I'm a professor in the Department of Microbiology at University of Manitoba.
I'm wondering, how does your research involve water?
The main goal of our research program is to study antibiotic resistance in bacteria. Contaminated water can have bacteria, potentially harmful bacteria, and also antibiotic resistant bacteria. So our research program involving water looks at microbiological quality of water from First Nation communities in Manitoba.
That's really interesting. I wonder, why does your research matter? Or in other words, why do you do what you do?
Speaking about our work with water in First Nation communities in Manitoba, poor quality of drinking water in First Nation communities in Canada is a problem that's been ongoing for a long time. So we have communities in our neighborhood that have been in underwater advisories for decades. So the fact that we are not able to ensure clean and safe drinking water to Canadians is a very serious issue. And access to safe water is considered a human right. United Nations has listed access to clean and safe drinking water as human right. So basically, we have our fellow countrymen and women who do not have access to this basic human right, and trying to understand why the water quality is microbiologically not safe for consumption is what makes our research program important.
Yeah, that is hugely important. And with that, I wonder, what are some barriers to your research?
This particular project, we work with a number of communities in Manitoba, and I would say, if you ask me about single largest barrier, I would say accessibility. It's quite amazing to see how a community that's maybe 300 kilometers from Winnipeg, how difficult it is to actually get to that community. Some of these communities are fly-in communities, which means summertime, we only way we can get there is by air, and it's expensive to fly into these communities, which is another mind-boggling aspect. In wintertime, there are winter roads, but then wintertime we can't really go for water sampling from lakes and other water sources. So lack of access to these communities, the remoteness of these communities is, I would say, the biggest barrier, if you'd like me to identify one barrier.
Do you think there are any other ways to improve this, to improve the situation around it?
Overall, I think increasing access to some of these communities, and if they're accessible only by air, then maybe having more options in terms of how we can get there. Improving that is going to be a long-term and a challenging plan, but it's doable. It's just a matter of whether we as a nation have the will to do that. So it is a tricky question, but we know it's doable. We just need to do it.
How do you seek to make an impact through your research?
When we started working on this project, it was a learning experience for me and everybody in my research group. We had no idea that water quality in some of our communities can be that poor. You and I would never ever consume a water that was that bad when it comes to the microbiological quality. Actually, that goes back to one of the questions I was asked by one of the community members, a young community member, a high school student, a community that we worked with. Can I use this water to brush my teeth? My answer was no. Based on what we are seeing, you should not be brushing your teeth with this water. I guess the impact I'm looking for is if I can find that student again, and hopefully our work will change the quality of water in a way where we can tell them that, yes, you can use this water for brushing your teeth. So, we're making some really small contributions to this end, but that would be the impact I would be looking at.
Couldn't have said it better. Thank you. I wonder, what is your advice for fellow grad students who have recently graduated like me or fellow researchers?
The fact that we are able to carry out research, ask new questions, and hopefully find ways to help community and community members and fellow citizens is it's very satisfying. It comes with a lot of frustrations, but the end result is always nice, always satisfying. My advice to grad students and new researchers is that you will face frustrations, you will face failure. There's no way around it, but it's at the end of the day, it's all worth it. So just hang in there and keep chugging along.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this with us today.
It was a pleasure.